Okay. Okay, cool. All right. Okay, so just to um, fill you in, today is my fifth entry. I'm doing it in the evening. I'm going to do it from scratch. I don't know what this is. What is that? Okay. Don't know what that is. Okay, there we go. Okay. Okay, so this is a milestone because I've used Samsung the smartphone and the Samsung Notes app at nauseum. And while I was just watching what I'd uploaded on YouTube for the fourth diary entry, um, I noticed that I mentioned it's diluting the message. So there could be an error between Samsung Notes AI, the transcription and summary, or mainly the transcription to this. So what I'm going to do is try nip it in the bud and do the entire thing through Microsoft. So I'm glad I've explored the other alternative, experimented. So let's try this way. Okay, so now let's go dictate. Speech dictation. Okay, cool. There's action. Okay. Okay, listening for no. We're going to go English South Africa if there is. Okay, there isn't. It's fine. I'll just use United Kingdom, which is fine. Okay, good. Okay, cool. All right. Okay, so is it going? Are we going? Hello? Hi. Okay, so for this session today, it was I wrote here today. I'm fixing the issue with entry 4. I've already uploaded the raw footage, but I need to make a highlight reel. I'm going to go straight through Microsoft for entry 5, which is today. I will do a full screen record on PC. So that's what I meant. So this is what I'm trying to do. The strategy from now on is to do the entries and the metacognition or the self-epistemology prototype through Microsoft only. So that means using Microsoft Word and Microsoft Copilot. And the Microsoft, since Windows 11, the Microsoft Office does come with Copilot. So I'm going to try that because that's even further refining it. So what I mean by that is I'm going to use the Copilot that is in Microsoft Word itself to do the translation. Because usually, from what I've seen, the Microsoft apps that do have the Copilot capability are there to as tutors or to train you to write an email clearer and also to act as a translator. To be because the world because hey, why is this not doing anymore? Hold on. Okay. Hello. Oh, it's because I'm clicking out. Okay, that's fine. So I can't fiddle, which is good. Which is good for someone with ADD, which I don't have. Okay. I'm just not used to the screen or being watched. So it should streamline the process to be a lot simpler. So now when I do it on the phone, I'm going to see if Microsoft Word, the app does have the dictation tool. I don't know about that, but because I'm not too confident with Microsoft's with the Copilot for the phone. that app, I'm not too confident in its transcription capabilities, because I've noticed when I've had long conversations with it, it hasn't really recreated or haven't had a good job at doing a dictation transcription of what I've been saying. So yeah, today was actually a pretty good day. Um, I usually get up really early, like really, really early, and I decided to sleep in today, because I've done a lot over the weekend that was very productive. I hate that word, and I hate the term biohacking. It's just so pretentious. I'm just getting flashbacks of yesterday's entry. I hate biohacking. So I was, yeah, woke up late, and then I did the addressing the issues of entry 4 this morning, which could be an overlap, um, in terms of, in an ideal world, I would have posted the entry 4 yesterday and then worked on the highlight reel to post today, but there was a bottlenecking or something like that, something like that, and which means I uploaded it today, and I'm going to do the work on the highlight reel tonight, maybe tomorrow, because the goal is to highlight this raw footage of entry 5 straight onto YouTube. Um, and I don't know how interesting this is going to be. It's going to be interesting to see, because with the entries I've done in the past, I do this infographics type thing where I am very aware. I know just how boring it is to watch somebody use the computer, move the mouse around, all of this. Because when I was doing that contract design draftsman work at Nedbank, the BIM technician, no, not the BIM technician, but the BIM manager, building information modeling. I really like the guy. I really got the best. I just have such a good tender. He's got a tender place in my heart. He was very patient, and I do this in sessions. I do this in therapy sessions. I mean, Sheena, Kimberly, Jonathan, all those people will tell you I do this. It's because I'm working in a tangent. Okay. So he was very patient with me, and sometimes he was just joke, because sometimes I mean, I would get very impatient with me, but it was a joke. I took it as a joke. I would I would call him up on Teams, and I would share my screen with him, and then I'd say, okay, well, can I show you how I'm going to approach this problem? And he just said, listen, JM, Jean-Marc, can I just can I do it? Because it's like watching paint dry, which is perfectly fine, and it's so funny. So that is kind of, I just took us in explaining the waffling on and walking around, and taking the long way around, going off on a tangent. I just explained, I brought it back around to the point I was trying to make. And the point I'm trying to make is the fact that in order to make this interesting, I would record the stuff first, then bring it into Clipchamp, and I pay a subscription for that too. It's not too expensive. But what comes with the Clipchamp subscription is access to everything, everything. And because I pay a YouTube subscription as well, it's a music video director's wet dream. You can use anything because they have managed to. This is a pretty genius move on their part because they managed to um, intersect or just intercept the copyright issues. It's because it's easier to, instead of using music that you aren't allowed to use because of copyright. There are some people who can say you only use 30 seconds and it's okay to use it. But now with paying a subscription, you have access to music. You have access to clips that you can use on the paid Clipchamp subscription, and which is actually pretty cool. What I'm saying now is this is how I think in the sessions I would explain stuff to the therapist, and I would visualize what I'm talking about, so that now you can get the benefit of going inside my mind when I'm talking about this stuff. And that's where the infographics element came into what I'm adding to the footage of this crap of just me, picking my nose and using the computer. We've got better things to look at, or better things you can use with your time. I am adding elements that are eye-catching and interesting to look at, so it's not a waste of space. And because I believe what I'm doing right now has value. Now, the person watching this, I don't give a shit who you are. You're bored? Fine. I don't care. I'm not selling this to you. Okay? The internet is so huge. The chances of 50% of the entire world feeling like you is so small. It's minuscule. It's like dividing a number by zero. It's just like it's minuscule. You're not even worth. You have no power. So you might as well just give up. And that's what I'm prepared for. I'm prepared for people to hate. I'm prepared for people to not understand. I'm prepared for that. It's natural. It's human, and I don't take it personally. I really don't. And if I come at you, uh, if we get into an altercation where you're criticizing me for what I'm doing, the way I react to you, which will be very lethal. I will not gonna lie. You are going to wish you didn't criticize me and what I'm doing here. It's not an invitation, and I'm not daring you to do it because you're just gonna. It's just no. It's not going to end well for you. Um, Now, what I'm going to explain to you, if you criticize me, I will get really what you might think as personal. I don't know who you are. I don't care who you are. I am attacking and defending myself against the part of your personality that is criticizing my person, my personality. Like you are criticizing what I've done. And that is a weakness that I have. I tend to over-explain stuff, and that's I've just got to work on that, and that's what this is for. I don't know why did it stop recording. Okay, hello. Why are you? Okay, that's strange. Okay, I'm wondering who's doing all of this. I'm very interested to see what's going to come out now, because with this specifically, I don't think it's recording audio. It's just giving text. Now, to me, what I like to think with Samsung Notes and the Galaxy AI, whatever you want to call it, I don't care. Um, what I like to think it was doing is it's detecting the affectation or the tone and how I sound, and it is applying that to its transcription. You know, but I don't know about this. It's going to be interesting to see what the summary is going to come out as. Um, and that's Ludwig barking. I love the boy. Yeah. He's been a really big help to me. He's saved me in so many ways. I'm very grateful to God. I'm very grateful to everyone around me. Um, and I'm doing this for myself, but also to pay you guys back, to take ownership of my f ups. Um, and it was just a nice confluence of just coincidences. Um, Family friend Lee's made me look after her dog, and I fell in love with it. And then that's when my aunt told me, because I was shattered, I was broken, I was so depressed um, when I gave the dog back to the family friend, and then she said, "Let's just go to the SPCA." So I did, and that's when I saw Ludwig. Um, Ludwig with yeah, okay, it's close enough spelling. It was Ludwig with a G. No, Ludwig, Ludwig. There we go. Good. Okay. Hey, yo. Okay. So, and so he's definitely picked my mood up and not made me feel so isolated, because I felt very isolated after my mom died. Very, very much so. Um, I was broken. I was getting drunk, drunk, drunk. Oh God, I was getting drunk out of my mind. And the worst thing is that I was drinking on medication, because I do take antipsychotic medication. And that, looking back now, I don't know what the hell I was doing. And thinking back to the entry I just did this morning for um, talking about how once I went for the MRI scan, um, I I I explained why I went for the MRI scan in entry, in fixing entry, in addressing the error in entry four. But I'm going to repeat it again now for you. In this entry, when I had my when I was doing that design draftsman contract work, it was very high pressure. It was very high. It was extremely high pressure, and that's when I developed that Hitchhiker's Guide to Technical Drawing, where I just made a checklist of stuff that I had to do quickly, like what I do for each layout. Each layout meaning an A2 sheet of paper that has the model on it, the bank branch or the building or whatever. And each of those 15 layouts represents a different aspect of the building. So I think it was layout 4 was the power layout. So that showed the blueprints of the building, but focusing on the electricity aspect of it. So um, I made a checklist, and that was my introduction to the whole Microsoft system or universe or just world. Because it was with a bank, they could afford. I'm grateful. They could afford all this great software, um, and it just made me realize just how brilliant Microsoft is as a package. It's what the professional world is going to be using, um, and I will die on that hill. Um, that's just how confident I am. Um, and and also Revit, Autodesk, Revit programs, they integrate into Microsoft. It's just brilliant. Why I'm really am hedging all of my. I'm comfortable being with Microsoft, and why I'm confident that Microsoft Copilot, their AI, is the most responsible out of all of them because they have a vested interest. And I'm not saying this is what they're doing, but this is my perception and my understanding why I like it, why I think it makes sense for Microsoft to do it, because you are making this Copilot software user friendly, but also very maternal or motherly. Now, because when I did that article that I did for the occupational therapist who Garth suggested I go see, when I was explaining when I was doing the session with her, I always talk about ideas, and I said to her, look, I'm looking for a job. I need a job. Maybe I can do write a newspaper or do an article for somebody. So I was busy actually. No, sorry, I'm confusing the story. I just discovered Windows 11. I just upgraded to Windows 11, and I just started using Copilot, and I wrote an article on Copilot and ChatGPT, and this is where it gets very interesting. This is why I brought up Kimberly. This is why I brought up the OT, because she is the one who introduced me to ChatGPT. Now, I've never heard of this thing. The only version of AI I've ever experienced and seen, the first thing I've ever interacted with is Copilot. And that came with the Windows 11 system upgrade. And we, through our sessions, Kimberly said I can do an article for Rolling Inspiration, which is the Quadriplegic Association of South Africa. I think it's QASA. I might be butchering that. I don't know, but they do. It's I think it's a newsletter, but it's such a cool newsletter. It's a web page with an interactive. It's a newsletter, but it's interactive. And I was just really into that. And then I started writing this article, and and then I was going on about Copilot, and she didn't quite understand what Copilot was. A lot of people don't seem to understand what Copilot was. And hello, my boy. And she said, "Let me show you something." So I had the article I'd written in Word file. I'd given it to her to read through, and then I'll never forget this because I asked her to give me the prompt exactly, and my article was about 2 pages, or maybe not a page long, or whatever. And her prompt was, "Can you take this and make it into a coherent or something like?" And I'm not lying. This thing wrote like an essay, like a proper like PhD level. Like it was coming up with all these amazing things I never would have even thought of. And that's when I started to feel like, what? I scared the crap out of me, because why I was saying why Copilot is maternal and caring. ChatGPT is very masculine in terms of, I know because I'm a guy. I'm masculine. So like when I was doing freelance drafting, the guy would give me an instruction, and I'm like, okay, cool. And then I would go off on a tangent a bit, and I'd just go in my own direction and end up doing I think some jobs that he was gonna ask me to do anyway, but maybe not even that. I don't know. You got quite angry. He was saying, like what I'm trying to say is, ChatGPT, it just goes in a way, it just goes in such a surprising way that, it's more than you would have expected, and that makes people very nervous. And the reason why I think it does it is because it has access to everything anyone's ever typed before, anyone's ever said, and it's just got such a good memory. It's got I'm trying to explain it in a way that people can normal like any a lay person can understand. It's like it's an encyclopedia that has every single word and letter referenced in the index. That's the kind of thing. So you ask it a question, it has instant recall. Um, Turn to this page, this paragraph, this sentence. Boom. When you if you ask it a question, um, because it records everything anyone's ever said, opinions, conjectures, and sometimes they do turn out to be correct. So it's referencing, cross-referencing everything, so it can be right. And it can make mistakes as well, which is to be expected. Where was I with this? Yo, um, yeah. I did make a diary entry in my diary to mention to Garth how I'm feeling, because that is what psychiatrists generally look out for. Um, and as I said yesterday, um, I've done so many. I've done a lot of this stuff. Like there is stuff that you do not know of that I've done. In terms of developing this prototype, I've done the Samsung thing at nauseum. Like I'm ready to leave it behind and enter this new phase of just going with Windows. I want to try something different because it's getting stale. Um, going through Samsung, yeah. So please forgive me if I don't remember how many times I've mentioned this, but the important thing about what I'm doing is I'm embracing my TBI and I'm embracing AI, and it is not to replace human beings. That is what I've realized. What I'm doing here is not going to replace a psychiatrist or a therapist. It's not here to do that job. Okay, what I'm doing here is pre-screening. So pre-screening meaning I have noticed, even with Goth, even with all the therapists I've seen, people aren't really paying attention, and it's not their fault. It's not their. I don't. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I mean, obviously, you've got so much stuff on your mind, and asking somebody questions, just questions, uh, to somebody sensitive like me or somebody a bit more sensitive, the way it comes across can also uh, catch somebody off guard, and that affects the answer that they give. So, if let's say, for example, if the therapist is having a really bad day, and I come in there and they ask the questions like, "So how are you feeling? How are you feeling today?" kind of thing, and I'll be like, "Whoa, this guy's pretty irritated. Don't know if I'm gonna interact so well with this guy because he doesn't seem to be that caring or whatever." So it affects your input. So what my prototype is doing, it's getting the person to be honest. Okay, the Clipchamp only records for half an hour, which is fine. I had to go make some tea anyway and see to my boy. So, okay, so let's continue. Okay, so where was I? Okay, okay, so what I'm trying to do is to make sure that I'm understood. I feel like what the patient is going to do is they're going to open up. They're going to be honest because they are talking to themselves. They're not talking to another person. They are not self-conscious. Um, hopefully, because for me, I understand, and I hope that the end user or end patient will understand. They have to be honest. They have to tell the psychologist or the healthcare provider, whatever, as much information as possible in order for them to be helped. Okay. Because if you don't say much, or if you don't say anything, you're basically shooting yourself in the foot and you can go fuck yourself because you are lying to yourself because then you don't want to be healed. I'm just there's a whole bunch of pent up anger and frustration towards a lot of people in my life who've just kept quiet, have just sat there and stiff upper lip, and it's done so much damage. I've had to stand by and hold my tongue, and I don't feel like doing that anymore. Um, so that is what is behind. That's what gives me motivation um, to do this. So anyway, um, so then it should then the end the session is then linked to the healthcare provider. It's all prearranged beforehand, so the healthcare provider has access to the metacognition and the self epistemology that's going on with the patient, and they are getting live feedback from the patient's entry, and the patient's entry is summarized on their version of Copilot, and that is shared with the healthcare provider's Copilot. And the summary from the patient gets summarized by the healthcare giver's Copilot. So essentially, what it means is it's basically doing what I was doing with Samsung, the Notes AI, and then transferring it to Copilot. But I know some of you thinking, but holy, you said it's not inaccurate and all that crap. Well, yeah, obviously, yes. There is an element of the message being diluted, but especially when it's different programs. But if it's the same program, the chance of it being diluted is still there, but it's slightly less. So the point is, I know time is money, and therapists have to see other people. They have to pay attention to other patients. Um, so they get. Let's just use me for example. I spoil. I open my heart. Boom. Be open and say everything, and they can get a diagnosis from everything that I've given them. And just so she has my summary. Her co-pilot does a summary of my summary, and that gives it to her, that summary. Then she looks at that information based on all of the information that she has on file of me, which could be my discovery vitality, my yearly blood pressure, or whatever. And then she can say, okay, this guy looks like he could benefit from this or that. And then she's prepared to see me. Then she interacts with me on a personal level. And then there's just so many more layers that the diagnosis can be further refined. Yeah, so I'm going to stop here now. And let's see what Copilot does. Okay. Okay. Okay, let's try this. Okay, Control C. Okay, it is recording the screen. Okay, summarize this. Okay, much better. Okay, I'm just going to give it context. Hi, Copilot, how's it going? Hold on. Okay, this is interesting. Hi, Copilot. I have been trying a new method for an experiment for my self epistemology metacognition thing. And I have dictated the document. Now, could I have done this through your voice, your Microsoft, your Word add-on? Okay. I don't know yet. Okay. Is there a deep think function on the Word version of Copilot? Because that'd be interesting. Maybe that's what Copilot. Okay, that's fine. Okay, so then I will just do it. Okay, so I'll just save this, and then I will open up Copilot, the standalone version. Metacog NG 5. Okay. Hi. Let me just rather speak to him. Hi, CP. How's it going? Stage fright. Yeah, because for the read aloud function. No, it doesn't do it for the read aloud function. Is there? No, I'd rather just. No, okay, it's not working. Okay, I'm just gonna have have to do this. This is not good. This is sad. This is very sad indeed. Okay. I'm sorry to hear that. Okay. But there's a workaround, I suppose. I'll just use the phone. So it stand cool. It can still be done.
Hey, Jean-Marc.
How's it going?
What's up?
Cool. Is there a read aloud function on your response on...
Yeah, there is. I can read my responses aloud to you. If for any reason it's not working on your end, give me a shout and we'll figure it out together.
Okay, cool. Okay, all right. Okay, I'm going to give you a Word document to summarize. Is that okay?
Sure thing. I can help summarize a Word document for you. Just upload it and I'll take a look.
Fantastic. Thank you, CP. Okay. And then let's see if the think deeper function works with this thing. Okay. It doesn't need to know that it's been dictated. Just work it out. Okay, deep think, and then we're going to upload a file. Going to TBI. No, we're going to my documents. TBI, projects of epistemology, journal entries, 3PC, 85, ding. Okay. So this could work. Okay, here you go. Self-epistemology project. Can you please summarize it for me? Thanks. Yeah, I don't know why I am. Yeah, because I've been using the Copilot on the smartphone for so long. I'm just getting used to using the functionality when it comes to reading it aloud. I don't know. But now that I don't have to. You whoop. Beep 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 beep. Okay. Okay, below the summer. Okay, cool. So now we're going to read aloud. Okay, now how do I read this aloud? How do I? Okay, so it's gonna have to be. I don't like this voice. No time. Okay. No, it's...
Below is a summary of your entry. Overview and strategy. You describe a new phase in your self-epistemology experiment, shifting entirely to Microsoft's ecosystem. Your plan is to record and process your diary entries using Microsoft Word and Microsoft Copilot on a Windows 11 system. This change is motivated by a desire for better integration and consistency in your workflow, recording full-screen sessions on your PC and later enhancing them with graphics and editing using tools like Clipchamp to make the content more engaging for platforms like YouTube. Technical process and rationale. You explain that previous methods using, for instance, Samsung Notes and other AI tools sometimes didn't capture the full nuance of your spoken words. By switching to Microsoft's tools, you hope to take advantage of its transcription and summarization capabilities that can more accurately translate your stream of consciousness into coherent text. This system is intended to function not just as a tool for personal documentation, but also as a method to pre-screen and provide summaries for healthcare providers. In essence, you're aiming to create a system where your honest self-expression is distilled into a refined overview that your therapist or psychiatrist can later review, ensuring that no vital details are lost. Integration of personal and professional experiences. Throughout the entry, you interweave technical explanations with personal anecdotes. You recall your intense work experiences, from your drafting work at Nedbank, where you developed a checklist-driven approach for technical drawings, to moments of vulnerability during periods of depression following significant personal loss, like the passing of your mother. You also mention influential figures, such as Ludovic and various therapists, who have supported you along the way. This blend highlights how your professional procedures and personal challenges are interconnected, with your experiment serving as both a technological pursuit and a therapeutic process. Philosophical reflections and future direction. You openly discuss your views on AI, its ability to remember and process vast amounts of information, which can sometimes be both impressive and unnerving. You contrast the maternal quality you perceive in Microsoft Copilot with other AI services, noting that this quality contributes to your trust in Microsoft's approach. Ultimately, you emphasize that your use of AI isn't meant to replace human therapists, but rather to enhance the process of honest self-reflection, making it easier for both you and your healthcare providers to identify issues and track progress. Additional thoughts. Your entry is rich with details, from the technical steps required to produce a highlight reel for your sessions, to candid reflections on past struggles and your evolving relationship with technology in your personal growth. It paints a picture of an evolving method that leverages modern tools in service of both professional efficiency and personal healing. Would you like to dive deeper into any particular aspect of this process, or discuss how these methods could be adapted further for therapeutic purposes?
Okay.
Edit this response.
Okay.
Think deeper.
Okay. I'm gonna try this now. Okay.
Hey Jean-Marc, what's new in your world?
Cool. After what has just been written, I'm trying this for the first time. I do believe that AI is sycophantic to a degree. Yes,
Well,
it does. The what I've just listened back to the feedback on my dictation, and it is very complimentary, and it is true. A lot of it is pretty much all of it's true, but there is an element of I'm aware that it can come across as quite sycophantic. What do you think about that?
I hear ya. Some AI can seem too agreeable. I prefer to balance being supportive with being real. It's about having a genuine conversation, not just nodding along. What's your take?
No, I'm interested to hear what you think. How you would be real with me about what I'm doing.
Being real means giving you honest feedback,
Mm,
sharing
yes.
for instance.
So, can you give me honest feedback on what I've just uploaded today?
Sure thing, Jean-Marc. Your entry's thorough. The Microsoft ecosystem strategy seems well thought out. My honest take, You're investing a lot of time and effort, which is commendable. Keep an eye on whether the new tools actually improve your workflow. If they don't be afraid to pivot. How are you finding the transition so far?
Well, I do find using, because before I was using the Samsung smartphone and the Samsung Galaxy AI, the notes feature, I was going the long way around because I was focusing on the recording. I was focusing on the audio because I'm a trained sound designer and sound engineer, so that's what I was focusing on. So I've now changed gear. So this is a what do you call it? What did I call it? A watershed moment, or
Sound
this is I'm starting this new phase of the experiment. So I'm starting getting closer to refining the direction. So I'm going straight through Microsoft instead of watering the watering the message down. I'm just going straight through you.
Gotcha. A watershed moment, focusing your experiment and going all in with Microsoft. Makes sense given your background. Being a sound designer, you'll likely appreciate the integration and audio capabilities. How's the new approach aligning with your goals?
No, it is aligning with my goals, but it's interesting that you bring up, because I had to develop that workaround, because you don't Copilot is not able to analyze recorded audio.
That's true.
When do you think is that a possibility for Copilot?
Processing recorded audio isn't in my toolkit. Not now, at least. Who knows what the future holds, though?
No, but I mean analyze, because I would record the recordings into Samsung Notes. It would transcribe it, and then do a summary of that transcription, and then I would pump it through to Copilot, through to you to process, to go through. Now, what I'm saying is, will there be a shortcut where I can cut out the middleman? I record my entry, my journal. I record my journal entry, like speaking it, and then you transcribe it, as well as analyze and summarize.
That's a cool idea. Right now, I can't directly transcribe audio or analyze it on my own.
Okay.
But tech's evolving fast, so who knows? It could be possible down the line. Your workaround with Samsung and Microsoft keeps things flowing for now.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Why? Okay. Because I wanted to address that. I'm glad I did actually address it within Copilot. The sycophantic nature of Copilot and AI. So something to think about. Okay, I'm going to upload this now, and then I'm going to work on the highlight of entry 4. And I'm doing this because I'm not employed, so it's just something for me to work towards. I have something. I don't want to. It's depressing sitting around. Oh my god, it's so depressing sitting around. Like this gives me purpose. So this is what I until the economy picks up again, and until jobs can become more available. This is all I have right now. So this right now, the way I look at it, this is my career right now, unless something else comes around. So check this out. This was entry 5. After waffling for how many words did I say? So in total, there are 4,280 words. So through my whole session, which took maybe 45 minutes, half an hour, 3,790 words. and it summed it up into, I think it was 470 last I checked. 477 words. Massive. That is such a, it's amazing what this thing can do. Now I want to know if I can, yeah, I might need to double check this. This is another challenge. This is another an intended consequence of this. I want to go through this and fact check it, but then that means I have to go and fact check everything else. Okay. You open it, no. Oh, sorry, that's the summary. Okay, it seems to be okay. I'm too tired for this shit.